Welcome to Suitcase and Chardonnay, the podcast where style meets storytelling and where we blissfully blend travel, fashion, food, wine, and intentional living. I'm Renate Engelbrecht, your host, and this is a space where you can find inspirational lifestyle tips, explore beautiful local and international destinations, and share slow, luxury moments and the little details that make life feel richer. In this second season, we are leaning even deeper into life's unique experiences. From boutique hotels and family weekend escapes, to thoughtful food and fashion, soulful conversations about wine, creativity and conservation, and the art of slowing down without losing your sense of adventure. Whether you're listening on a morning walk, planning your next getaway, or simply craving a moment of inspiration, you're in exactly the right place. If you love lifestyle podcasts that celebrate travel, fashion, food, and wine, go ahead and follow or subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. And if something resonates, save it, share it, and let it travel further than we ever could alone. Now, if you're ready, let's go. In today's episode, we're stepping into the refined and beautifully layered world of Cyra Restaurant at the Houghton Hotel in Johannesburg, a dining destination known for its contemporary elegance, immersive tasting experiences, and thoughtful approach to fine dining. Joining me is executive chef Candice Philip, whose culinary philosophy revolves around storytelling, seasonality, and creating dishes that awaken memory and emotion. We'll be chatting about her current menu and the evolution of South African fine dining and what guests can expect from one of Johannesburg's most exciting culinary experiences. So, pour yourself a glass of wine, settle in and enjoy the conversation. Foodies, this one is for you. I am at Cyra Restaurant at the Houghton Hotel in Joburg and so privileged to sit here with Chef Candice Philip. She is the executive chef here at Cyra Restaurant, and I just had the most exquisite lunch. Thank you so much for inviting me. This was so special.
Pleasure. I'm glad you can join us.
Yeah, thank you. Candice, just tell me a little bit more about, when I walked into the restaurant, it felt like I was being hugged by femininity and feeling so welcome in the space. And I'm saying femininity because there's a lot of feminine touches
and pink
throughout the space.
Yeah.
And just the beautiful view across the golf course and everything. How did it happen that you ended up here?
So, well, it's a long story about how I ended up here, but how we came to sort of decorating the restaurant and how the name and everything came about was obviously it's got the beautiful view of the golf course, but also in the evening when the sun sets, the sunset shines into the room and it's very beautiful. So I wanted a name that kind of fitted like with myself and with the space. So we went with Cyra meaning sun. It's got a couple of different meanings, but meaning sun. And then because there's other spaces in the hotel and I'm very sort of how are things connected, I wanted to know how the other two restaurants, the names that they have, or how the other two spaces were connected and how Cyra would then fit into that. So the other two are stars, and Cyra is also a star. So it all kind of came together, and it's and then obviously very feminine and pink and gold and just the hues really of a sunset. So,
So I was here for lunch, and even now, it's just past 3:00 in the afternoon, and even now the sun is starting to come into the space, and I couldn't help but take a couple of pictures because the glasses start shimmering and everything. It's really beautiful.
It's pretty,
And that also pulls through to the kitchen and what you put on the plate. And I must say I was really surprised with what you put on the plate today. You said that the menu has been it's the 4-course menu and it's been available since March, but it's really quite a spectacular menu for winter.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed well, first I had the bread course, which was lovely, and gluten-free for those who are sensitive to gluten. So that's the option as well. And then I had, what did I have for the first course? Oh my goodness.
Beef tartare?
The beef tartare, that's correct. And that was very, very special because I expected something heavier in a sense.
Yeah.
So that was quite light, and I wanted to know what your thinking was behind it, because for me, it almost felt like walking through a forest with the mushrooms and the crispy leaves and everything. It was just so spectacular. So what was the thinking behind that?
So we introduced this menu, I suppose, at the beginning of this season, and you've got the crunchy leaves, you've got the the colors of the mushrooms and the pickles and all of that. So the idea behind that dish specifically was I had been at a restaurant in Cape Town, and the table next to us had this giant steak tartare, like this giant patty with an egg on the middle. And I was just like, no, I was like, it's just so intimidating to have this big chunk of meat like that. So my tartare was designed sort of more accessibly to people that are maybe, I don't want to say scared, but a little bit shy of eating raw meat. And then the tartare is obviously mixed with a truffled mushroom. We've got the cream on there as well, the Parmesan cream. And then, so just kind of a winter take on a fresh sort of tartare dish.
Yeah. No, it was beautiful. It was really on the palate and on the plate. It was simply divine.
Thank you.
And then my second course was the poached prawn. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And that was quite different, obviously, because it's a fish dish, but also the flavors in there were very unique. I haven't eaten prawns with grapes.
Yes.
And also just so beautifully plated with the little flower detail and everything. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So that one, the prawns we soft poached. They literally are poached in butter at a very, very low temperature. So they still maintain the shape. They don't go like mushy. They have a beautiful sweetness that comes from the meat. And then we've paired that with an ajo blanco. Well, an ajo blanco is generally a bread soup and an almond soup. But we've kind of made that into more of a puree or a gel kind of consistency. And then it's served with a grated gel, which is it's a verjus jelly really. We grate that over the top and it gives the acidity that the prawns need to carry it through that dish. So just an unusual take on a poached prawn dish. Grapes for freshness and sweetness. And then the oils on there as well.
And of course the caviar for a bit of texture.
Yes, a little bit of caviar on there, and then the green leaves and so those leaves that are on there are actually it's called sea fennel.
Okay.
So it also brings another sort of flavor to the dish.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. That's the same leaves that you used on the bread course as well, on the butter. Is that correct?
There is so there's a bronze fennel that was on the butter, and then there's the sea fennel, which is on the prawn.
Yeah. So the one thing that I really appreciated about the whole experience was the finer details of everything. Even, just in the space itself, the more I started looking around and really noticing things like the lights that look like leaves. And it's just those little details.
Everything that's hide in but not sort of, when you look around and you pick it up, then you realize, but
But you also need to spend some time in the space, because if you just walk through it, you're not going to notice.
It's not going to make sense. Even in those kind of screen things that we have, the little leaf detail in there as well.
That's incredible. It's beautiful. So then the third course followed, and that was, I had the beef, the beef fillet.
Beef fillet,
Yes, which was also beautifully plated and for me very well balanced with the broccolini that you mention in the menu, and also the crispy potato and everything was just so beautifully balanced. A heavier dish, and I thought quite fitting for winter and autumn. Just tell the listeners a little bit more about the dish and the inspiration behind it.
So this dish, the inspiration for this one was a little bit more funny. So it's based around a sandwich, if you would.
Okay.
So the inspiration was beef, pastrami, as in the gammon side of things, really. The gherkins, the mustard. That's where this all comes from. And then I translated it into an actual main course dish. So the beef fillet is sous vide. We've got a beautiful marinade that goes on there as well. And then we've got the crispy potatoes, the aioli, so it's a whole grain mustard aioli on there. And then the sauce is the jus with the gammon. There's gammon cubes, and there's pickles like gherkins in there as well.
Yeah.
And it all comes together in this beautiful, beautiful way. And I love that dish.
It's amazing. So the aioli also brings in a bit of creaminess to the dish, and then the broccolini kind of breaks that again, which is really nice.
Breaks it, it gives it a bit of color.
Yeah. And what I also noticed in this dish was the freshness of the meat itself. You obviously wouldn't tell us where you find it, but is it a special producer that you get the meat from? Farm to table kind of thing?
I'm going to say not specifically, but we do have our suppliers that we get from. And I'm very happy with the quality of the meat that we use.
Yeah. No, I could taste it. That's why I'm asking. No, it's a brilliant, brilliant way of bringing a sandwich to a fine dining dish.
There we go.
Perfect. And then the dessert obviously was a very big highlight. Just because it brings things full circle for me. I had the panna cotta, and just, the prettiness of the plate was just full circle. It brings things like the whole feminine vibe that you get from the restaurant kind of landed in that plate. But I was very curious because the menu doesn't give too much detail about what's inside. So can you just tell me a little bit, because what I know about a bay leaf is not the bay leaf that I saw on the plate.
No. So it's tricky. Obviously, the menu doesn't say too much. And I think a lot of people are taken by surprise because bay leaf is not something you would usually find in dessert. I love the flavor of bay leaf. I think it's very subtle and soft. So putting that into a panna cotta with the vanilla, and that's like the vehicle to carry that sort of light flavor. And I think it does it so well. And then paired with we've got orange jellies on there, and the little blackberries, and then the blackberry jus, it's a sweet jus that we've spiced up. And I think it all comes together. So it's just such a beautiful dessert. I really love that one.
Yeah, no, it really is beautiful. And obviously the bit of sauce that gets poured over is always, always special and a good highlight to end off with.
Yeah. And all the little pretty flowers. The flowers that are still in season.
Yes, obviously, yeah. So the leaves that were on top, what were they?
So there's a verbena flower on there, and then there's also the hibiscus.
Okay.
So all edible.
Yes,
so, but very pretty.
And I had all of it, and it's divine. All the flavors just come together so beautifully.
Yeah.
So Candice, that's the menu. And do you have any plans on changing it anytime soon? Because the listeners might want to come now.
So no, the 4 course is in. It's going to be here for a while. I am planning on changing the 6 course relatively soon. So it'll be the winter 6 course that comes in. We are busy working with that at the moment. So soon, hopefully soon, we will have a new 6 course on the menu as
Amazing.
well. Yeah, so you have choices.
Yeah. And the other choice is also then adding a pairing, a wine pairing
Yeah, you
to
can
it.
do the wine pairings with both the 4 course and the 6 course.
Okay.
Or you can do by the glass, however you prefer.
Yes, yeah. And you guys do lunch and dinner?
So yeah, we do dinner Tuesdays to Saturdays every night, and then lunch is available from Thursdays to Saturdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lunch also we only do the 4 course.
Yes. Okay. Well, obviously because it's
Otherwise
already
it's too long. Yeah.
Yeah. But you are going to want to linger longer with a glass of wine or whatever. Yeah. No, it's amazing. And then plans for the future? Any exciting things happening soon?
I'm sure we'll have a lot of exciting things coming out. Obviously, going into winter, we have a couple of things planned that we would like to put forward through the winter months, and then obviously we always look forward to spring and summer, and doing something exciting when those seasons come around. So, yeah, lots of things on the cards.
Yeah. And you just mentioned, I mean, I received a very special gift after already having a very nice lunch. And you mentioned that you also gave that gift to the people dining here during Mother's Day. So obviously those things are also, special touches that you add to special events and everything.
To special occasions
Yeah.
and whatnot. Yeah, we try to make it special for everybody.
Yeah, so people can just inquire about that and
Yep.
see
Yep.
what's happening. Very cool. Candice, and then I'm curious about your position in the industry as a chef, and being a chef in South Africa and specifically Joburg. What has your experience been? I mean, I think people coming to restaurants like Cyra are always curious to experience flavors of Josie and the surrounds. How do you incorporate that in what you do as a chef?
So Josie is a little bit tricky, especially when it comes to fine dining. I feel not everyone necessarily understands how fine dining works or what it is that we do exactly. I think people have a bit of a sort of skewed thought on how it, or narrative on what fine dining is, especially here. So either people look at fine dining and think the food is really small and it's not going to be enough, or they think of it as an elevated steak and chips, which is obviously not what we're doing here either.
No.
So we're in a bit of a tricky space. But yeah, the people that do come and do experience the menu as it is and as it's supposed to be, they enjoy it and they really like it's something that they haven't necessarily experienced before. And so in terms of translating what Josie has to offer, we obviously using the ingredients that we have here. It's not necessarily traditional South African, things or grains or whatever, but we do have little pockets of things that are from this side, and that's what we try to showcase. I have a very sort of avant-garde way of creating my menus and the flavor pairings that we use. So it's not just you're coming for dinner, you're coming for an experience.
Yes.
And you need to be kind of open-minded in terms of what you might find on the plate or how it's been presented or how it's been cooked or whatever. So, and it's a journey. So that's really what we're giving. And I think it's exciting. Everyone that comes seems to enjoy it. So yeah, it makes me happy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you've mentioned that you've got a bit of a small team, but you guys manage. How is that? Is that a challenge for you at all at some stages?
Sometimes it can be a bit of a challenge. Obviously, we do exclusive events in here as well. So when we are touching numbers of 50 or 60 at a time, it can be a bit of a challenge. But yeah, we push through. We make sure we're on top of all the prep, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I really take my hat off to you.
Thank you
for that. Yeah, no, that's incredible. And then, I mean, talking about Josie and flavors of Josie and how you bring that into what you do, I suspect that you have traveled quite extensively as a chef. Were there any destinations that influenced what you do as a chef today?
So, whilst in my culinary journey, I was part of the national culinary team, which is like the Springboks of cooking, I guess. And I got to do a lot of competitions around the world, do the Olympics.
Oh,
at a
wow.
point. Yeah. So it's held in the Olympic year, and it's usually held in Germany. And you come together as like people from all around the world with what they're showcasing, and it's amazing. Like it really is amazing. And then obviously doing competitions all around, and just being able to have eaten in different restaurants in different places of the world, and Michelin stars, or being able to stage in different places or whatever. It's all sort of played a part in what I do and how things come about. But I am hugely influenced by the Nordic side of things. I did go to Norway. I did a competition there, and I love that side of the world and the way their things are so simple, but so well executed. And I think that sort of translates in what I do as well. There's not a lot of items or elements on the plates. It's very sort of simplistic, but presented in a very, artful way.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on that as well, because I believe that with a restaurant specifically, and I mean, in this day and age, people always want an Instagrammable space and Instagrammable food and everything, but sometimes it gets too much, especially if it's a very busy design for a restaurant, and then you get these busy plates as well. And sometimes going back to the simplistic part of everything makes sense. And I also felt that here, because the space is not that busy. Everything seems to have been designed very intentionally.
Yeah.
And then you've got your plates as well, which is beautiful, but also not too much. So it allows for you to really, think about what you're tasting and to really take it in and experience it, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, and you get to as you said, it's intentional. So you get to taste the flavors that we are pinpointing, and that's the point of kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's well executed.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, Candice, just a last couple of questions. Maybe can you just tell me also, living in Joburg, are there certain things or certain elements as you go through your day that also inspire you for your menu items?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that inspire me in terms of creating a dish, which could be come across as a bit weird. But there's lots of things that inspire me, like the seasons, obviously, the way it looks outside, or the way the light falls. I know that sounds weird, but
No.
the way the light falls, or the colors. I've previously done a menu that was all white.
Oh, wow.
So doing that kind of stuff, and those are things that people remember. People come to the restaurant now still and talk about the menu that I did when it was literally an all-white menu from start to finish.
That's amazing.
6-course. And I think I did that in 2022, and people
Wow.
still talk about it. So doing stuff like that, even though you think it's weird or crazy or risky or whatever, and you do it anyway, and people appreciate it, because playing with their senses, essentially.
Yes. Yeah.
So it could be smells, tastes, colors, all sorts of things that inspire me. And the weirdest things as well. I mean, the flavor profiles that we use are not always very traditional in any way. So, and I think that's a huge part of how people have come to know me, because you're not going to find what we're serving anywhere else.
Yeah, and that's what makes the space and the food so special. That is truly, I mean, you want something unique and something that you can talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
And then talking about things that inspire, are there certain tastes that you've tasted before? Anything weird that you've eaten that might have inspired something?
Not necessarily weird, but I've always loved the herbaceous side of things. So and highlighting those, because I feel like they're not highlighted always as they should be. So like the herbs and that always sort of, they're chopped and they're thrown in, but they're not given much thought further. So those sort of things. There's a herb that I've always loved, and it's called lovage. It's very hard to come by, especially here in Joburg, but it's very similar to celery, but stronger. But that herb is so amazing. That rose geranium, licorice root, like all sorts of, they're just things that aren't in your face. Kind of, if you don't know about them, you wouldn't know anything about them. And those are the things I like to work with, because you're showcasing things that people don't know about, and they don't know the taste of them. And they're really nice. They're really good ingredients.
That's very interesting. So the one thing that also stood out with the first course was the leaves that you put on the tartare. And I wanted to ask you about that, because it's not the usual kind of leaves that you'll have on a dish. And I noticed the curry leaves, which were quite crispy and added a beautiful texture to the dish.
And they have such a beautiful flavour.
Yes, but there were other leaves that I didn't know what they were.
So on there we've got chervil. So when I plate stuff, or like when we're doing dishes, I like for the things to look fluffy. I know that's not a culinary word, but fluffy. So the other herb that's on the dish is chervil, because it's got such a beautiful like bounce to it.
It does,
it just elevates a little bit.
So I've learned something today. Oh, goodness. So I recently, when we were speaking about the weird tastes, I recently had the opportunity to taste mupani worms.
Yes.
And I was pleasantly surprised, I think. I don't know if I'll do it again, but...
They are surprising though. Like, I think the first time I had a mupani worm, I was like, this is like Duravost, but hollow.
Exactly. And I was like expecting something crunchy, but it was very chewy in the end. So I don't know if I'll do it again, but what I actually wanted to ask is, would you use something like that in your restaurant, for example?
Yes, I think if I could present it in a way that's accessible to everybody, then I would do it. I mean, I've considered putting tripe on, but it would have to be done in a very clever way. We've done sweetbreads, so obviously sweetbreads are something that's very again, not everybody knows about them, but they're such a delicacy, and they're really good if you've cooked them properly and whatnot. But people don't know what they are, and when you try to explain what they are, then they don't want to eat them. So it's a very tricky line. But we have done it before, and teach people about new ingredients, and hopefully they enjoy them.
I think the educational part of it all is so important, actually, because people don't know things anymore. And if you're an international guest, I mean, I saw internationals walking in here this afternoon. They just came to look at the space because they're eating here tonight. And I was just like, you know, in a space like that where you have locals and internationals dining there, you need to have a bit of a balance between, and I think that might be quite difficult, isn't it?
So with international people, a lot of the people that come through, I'm not saying our restaurant specifically, but in general, they seem to mention that South African food is quite sweet. You know, we use a lot of chutneys, and we have a lot of things like that. So when you're considering that, then it's for not that they wouldn't have the 6 course, but when you have options on the menu, then it makes sense, because they can choose, you know, what they might want to have, instead of being like, this is what you are having, and it might be too sweet, or it might be you know, not to their taste. So it's good to have variety, I guess. But and it's also nice to show what we do, because for us, even though we do use, you know, in our normal day-to-days, we do use chutneys and these things that come across sweet to others, and not necessarily sweet to us.
And I mean, if you make it yourself, you can also
you can balance it. So there's a balance that we try to sort of strike between what we're serving and who could be coming.
And just to touch, because obviously Suitcase and Chardonnay has to do with food and wine. Your wine list is also quite extensive and very impressive. Is there a specific way that you approach putting together a wine list for Cyra, or how does it work?
So in terms of when we do the pairings, so that's basically where our wine list is, you know, we compose from there as well. But So when we're doing a pairing for the new menus, we look for a wine partner that's going to give us something that is a little bit unique. So maybe smaller farms or vintages that you can't necessarily find anywhere, or bottles that are not available in the local supermarket or whatever. So from that point, it's quite nice because we get to offer a lot of different variety and things that people also wouldn't come across normally.
Yeah.
So from that point, in terms of putting together the tasting part of things, that's how we do it. And then if we come across wines that are really, really good from that, then it's nice to use those on our actual listing as well.
Yeah.
So it's always being updated, always looking for something else, something unique. And so that's how we can. And obviously we work very closely with Solly and the wine partners that we choose. So makes it easy for us.
Yeah, and I think it's a great add-on to have, obviously for a restaurant like this, and going back to education for your guests, it's always nice to have these local wines and to introduce
and the story,
them to.
like they all have like a background story. That's it's a little talking point at the table, which is nice.
Absolutely, yeah. Not that the food doesn't bring a story to the table. No, it's incredible. Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure.
And just quickly, if the listeners want to book or want to learn more about Cyra, where can they find you?
So we are on Dine Plan. If you want to book, you can book your own table through Dine Plan. Otherwise, you can ring us in the restaurant directly, or we can assist you like via Instagram or WhatsApp. Just reach out and we'll be there.
Cool. I'll add all the links in the show notes below, and be sure to come and check out this beautiful restaurant. It's really worth it. Thank you so much, Candice.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
If there's one thing that stands out, it's how deeply food can connect us to people, places, memories, and moments. Cyra is more than just a restaurant. It's an experience rooted in creativity, intention, and beautifully crafted storytelling through flavor. Thank you so much for listening to Suitcase and Chardonnay. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with fellow lovers of lifestyle, travel, fashion, food, and wine. You can also follow along on social media and visit the blog for more curated stories, destination inspiration, and elevated experiences from across South Africa and beyond. Until next time, travel well, live beautifully, and savor every moment. Are you looking to connect your lifestyle, travel, fashion, food, or wine brand with an engaged audience that values intentional living and elevated experiences? Suitcase and Chardonnay is a multifaceted storytelling platform offering authentic brand positioning through curated article placements, podcast features, social media exposure, events, giveaways, and meaningful collaborations. From boutique hotels and wine estates to fashion labels and luxury lifestyle brands, we help tell stories that resonate. Whether you're launching something new or growing your presence, let's create impactful, beautifully curated campaigns together. Connect with Suitcase and Chardonnay and let your brand journey further.